I thought a great place to start would be on South Florida, right? There's tons and tons of people who are talking about South Florida, moving there, potentially moving their businesses there. Real estate has been up significantly over the last 2 years or so. You and your team are very focused on the South Florida market. What exactly are you seeing? What is the market going up? Is it going down? How is that happening in comparison to other markets in the country?
Yeah, thanks, Pom, for having me. I think everything, it depends the point of reference that you're using, right? So if you're talking about where the market was 18 months ago to where it was today, in the multifamily space, which is probably the asset class that's best, that looks best relative to all the other asset class, it's still probably down like 15% from the highs, right? In South Florida, what ends up happening is the sellers are just not willing to sell at a, call it 15%, not even discount, but 15% to what their properties were valued at 18 months ago. So you're not seeing that much inventory. So the guy's like, why am I going to sell if I don't have to? So they're holding on because they're still bullish South Florida. I think something to talk about specifically is what we're seeing in South Florida, and this is very different for the rest of the country, is it is still growing and proving to be growing at the same rate that it's been growing for the last 2 years. So I just read this morning, Guggenheim is apparently on the verge. It's a 300, they manage over $300 billion of assets. They're on the verge of leaving Chicago to come to Miami, is the article. And another thing was, this Bloomberg came out with this yesterday, is there's a socialist wave in Latin America flying into like US real estate. So I think the big takeaway for most people in the real estate world is that there's a flight to quality. We're seeing that in office. We're seeing that geographically. So yes, the whole world is not as rosy as it looked 18 months ago in any asset class. But okay, so now the world is here. And okay, understanding that the world is here, where's the quality? And people around the world are like, it's the United States. And where in the United States, it's a Southeast business-friendly, tax-friendly geographies. And where is that? Florida. And then you keep going down and down and down, and you end up with South Florida, where you've got investors that still have capital they want to deploy. And they're saying, if I'm going to deploy capital today, I think South Florida is my safest bet.
Explain why you think land has exploded so much. Is it the land transactions are actually increasing at that high of a rate, or is it that multifamily is just slowing down?
It's a good question. So the reason why land is where we are seeing opportunities right now, primarily, is because, again, if I hold the multifamily building, no need for me to sell until I absolutely have to. If I own a piece of land, you have carrying costs to the land that you own. You've got investors that are accruing pref. You potentially have a land loan that you're paying down. You've got taxes and you've got insurance. That land does not produce you income that helps you offset those costs, those carrying costs. So you basically have, for lack of a better word, a ticking time bomb until you build this deal, right? What ends up happening is the people that bought land over the last 24 months that they thought they were going to be able to develop this building, they've realized that the assumptions that they made to buy this land were too rosy. And now construction costs are up, rents are lower than you thought they were going to be. They're not really down. Year over year, a report just came out from March 2022 to March 2023, rents in Miami are up 8.1%. That's a phenomenal trend. It's not 30, 50% that we're seeing, but that's great. So rents are lower than you thought they were going to be. Construction costs are higher than you thought they were going to be. And more importantly, the loan that you thought you were going to get, that loan at 70, 75% is now 50, 55%. So you've got to go back to your investors and try to raise more equity to mobilize this asset. And you're realizing that's really, really hard. So what I'm seeing, and a lot of our, we're actively working on a bunch of land deals in South Florida. What I'm seeing is people that own land are saying, crap, I need to figure something out with this. It's sort of burning a hole in my pocket. And surprisingly, this is to me, this shocked me. We take these deals out to market, and there is interest for these deals because there are people out there that have a longer term time horizon. If you go to a financial advisor today and they say, what should I invest in? They go, how long of a time horizon do you have? Are you looking to invest your money for 6 months or 20 years? there's capital out there that's looking to invest money for their next 20 years. And those guys, I mean, I don't know how specific I want to be on this, but I've got people flying from Canada, a country in Europe, Latin America this week to see an opportunity that we have to sell. Because they're like, I love the real estate. I love the location. I can capitalize it. I can build it. I think 3 years from now, the pain we're seeing is going to be okay. And South Florida is going to continue growing as it is. So land is hot right now.